Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Nyathi, is it?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yes. Mr. Nyathi, Advocate Nile is going to do the formalities, and from there on we will, you will be led in your testimony by my colleague here. Yes.
Thank you, Chair. Morning, Mr. Nyathi.
Morning, ma'am.
Yes. Are you going to take an oath or will you affirm?
I'll take an oath.
Thank you very much. Mr. Charles Nyathi, do you swear that the evidence you're about to give today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If that is so, please raise your right hand and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nyathi. You've now been sworn in as a participant in the SJN hearings.
Mr. Tom.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Morning, Mr. Nyathi. How are you?
I'm okay, sir.
Good, thank you. My name is Sandy Letom. The chairperson has introduced me. Yes. You've prepared a statement detailing your experiences in cricket as a player, you know, as a coach, and how the game has contributed to your life while playing it and while being involved in it. You also talk about your experiences and encounters of racism in the sport, and you understand that falls within the terms of reference of this inquiry. Now, I would like you to tell the chairperson and South Africa at large about your story in cricket. Thank you.
Okay. My name is Charles Nyathi. I am from Kagiso. I've been participating in cricket since 1996. Up until now as a coach, although I'm not coaching currently. I'll state why. But before I go on, can I please read? There's something that I've prepared.
Yes.
Okay. I'll quickly go through it. I, Charles Nyathi, I am not here as the SJN to destroy or to defend anyone. I am here to give my testimony as a cricket coach, coaching from primary, high school, and at the professional level, and to point out where I feel and think that the destruction of cricket started from. I am not here to dispute what those who came before me have said. Their story is their story, their truth is their truth. I feel that the guilty parties in terms of destroying cricket starts from primary level school, high schools, and then it escalates to national level. And I also like to say that I have tried by all means to report these matters at a higher level. Like I've stated in my affidavit, there was a time where I approached Mr. Gerald Majola to point out the abuse that I felt were related to cricket. I've also, by then, wrote numerous letters to the Minister of Sports by then, which is Mr. Ngonde Balfo, and I got no response that I felt that action might be taken. I remember Mr. Ngonde Balfo here at the Wanderers, when I said to him that I introduced myself to say that I'm Charles Nyathi, and I've written you numerous letters to point out why I feel cricket is letting us down. And
yes. Now, do you remember what year was that? You don't have to recall the month or what year was that. And what is it that you were complaining about to the minister then, in your letters?
Okay, in my letters I was complaining about a gentleman, Mr. Kasim Suleiman.
Yes.
He was the president of Eastern's Cricket in Benoni. I was complaining about him and the abuse that I felt. That he was abusing me, basically, and nobody paid attention to that. All I was told is that I'll talk to him, and I also by then reported to my senior, which was Mr. Ray Jennings, to point out that Ray, this is the situation. And as I still say and maintain that at times when these abuses occurred, Ray Jennings was there.
Okay, now, are you comfortable in just listing, in just giving us examples of the kind of abuse that you experienced?
Okay, when I was appointed at Easterns, I was coaching under 19, which was my main job. And for some reason, Mr. Suleiman didn't like me being there.
Yes.
And I won't use the language, but he was swearing at me, saying that I'm not needed there. He's got his own people that he can appoint in my position.
Yes.
That it was very abusive.
Yes. All right. Continue.
Okay, that when I spoke to Ray and said, Ray, Mr. Suleiman is abusing me in front of you, and you are not protecting me. I got no response.
Okay.
Mr. Nyathi, if you could then, I believe you are reading your opening statement, right? So if you could then just take us through your written statement, where you just give us a bit of a background of yourself, and that's if you're done with the opening statement.
You mean the affidavit that I've sent before? If you want me to go through it?
Yes, as in, but you don't have to read it. You can just tell your story. But if you could just give us a proper introduction of yourself and your background.
Okay, like I said, I started cricket in 86, sorry, in Kagiso as a player, and then I further developed as a coach, coaching in high schools and coaching for...
No, Mr. Nyathi. You have got about 1.5 hours. You must pace yourself. By the time you get to the end, you must have a very clear picture of when you started to get an interest in cricket.
Okay.
You know, you can't be born and then the next thing you are a coach. Give us that history, because we want to see, and you must always bear in mind that the terms of reference are for us to look into whether racial discrimination, which was unfair, impacted upon your career in the sporting code called cricket. So you must always have that in mind, because we are here to establish that evidence from you. But don't start having an interest in cricket and the next thing you are a coach. There must be a history that you can relate. When did you start to be interested in cricket? You know, primary school, and then what happened? And you must always bear in mind that in your testimony there must be evidence that, you know, if there was, you are convinced that some of the things that you did not do or you did not get to be recognized for where because you are black, where because you are an African, if that is so. So pace yourself. Start right from the beginning.
Okay. I started mini cricket in 1996 in Kagiso.
1986.
1986. I beg your pardon, sir.
Yeah.
In 1986, as a mini cricket, Baker's mini cricket player, and I played for Kagiso schools, and then I went to Westridge High School where I also played cricket, and from high school, I'm hoping I'm on the right track, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then from Westridge High School, I started playing for clubs like Kosa, for Rodiport, and then for Pirates. And then in 1997, we established a club in Kagiso, where I was the chairman of the club. And then that's where I started developing also as a coach. I also coached Gauteng under 19 from the year 1999. The captain was Graham Smith by then.
Yes.
Sunny Boy was also one of the players there. I can count so many.
Count them.
Yes, and then from I think year 2000, I moved with Mr. Ray Jennings to go coach at Easterns, which is in Benoni, where my main job as well was to coach the under-19s. And then, yes, that's where I encountered Mr. Suleiman, where, like I say, I feel he was racist towards me. And yes.
Continue.
Yes.
If you want to refresh your memory by looking at your statement, you are very free to do so.
Yes.
Because the last thing that you want is not to say the things that you wanted to say simply because you thought it was unlawful or unacceptable, or it was not the right thing to do, to read, or to use this statement to refresh yourself. You may look at some part and say, okay, now I remember what I wanted to say by that.
Chair, my mind is clustered because there's so many things that happened through the years, but my main one, what happened to me personally was with Mr. Suleiman and the treatment that I got from him.
Can you elaborate on that? How did he racially abuse you?
Did he abuse you because you are black? Or in the sense, because you are African and he is Indian? Or because this is not a disciplinary inquiry,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
There are structures for people who feel aggrieved. This is not designed to be a grievance procedure. It could amount to that only if you are able to say, these things that happened to me because of the color of my skin, because of my race, or if you are a female, because of my gender.
So I feel.
Otherwise, it would be a misdirection to have these hearings only for people to come and tell us about things that they could have raised in other forums. You know, if Mr. Suleiman mistreated you, tell us if there were structures for you to have taken the abuse to, but then you must always bear in mind that, what I want to get from anyone who comes to testify before me is evidence, if there is any, that they were treated in the way in which they were treated, or they were denied opportunities, if they were denied opportunities, purely and simply because of the color of their skin, because of their race, or because of their gender. We don't want to misdirect ourselves and don't want to spend a lot of time inquiring into issues that are not going to bring out that. And I thought that you were aware that you are going to come and testify here and show us through your testimony that in fact these things happened to you, not because you know of anything, but because you are black. And if you are able to show, for instance, that certain things happened to you which did not happen to people, you know, of other race groups, that's okay. But it seems to me that from what you have been saying to me, that we have got this thing about Mr. Suleiman. Is that the only thing that you came here to testify about?
Say, I'm speaking about Mr. Suleiman because that's where I felt the abuse. And yes, of course, there were structures that I've tried to report
Yes.
what I felt. And one of the structures was my senior boss, which was Mr. Ray Jennings by then. And then I failed. And I wrote letters. I'm honest about this. I wrote letters to Mr. Majola to complain about Mr. Suleiman.
What was the issue between you and Suleiman?
The issue was that the issue with him was that he didn't want me there, and he pointed out that how can a boy from, they call me a Western boy come and coach in the provincial level, and whereas he has his own people that is earmarked to be coaching at that level. I don't know if I'm clear about this, but this is what I feel. And
I can appreciate what you feel, but there is a duty that I have as an ombudsman in the social justice and nation building project.
yes,
And that is to focus on whether there is evidence on the basis of which I will conclude that whoever was testifying before me was in fact dealt with. Let me read for you what the objectives of the ombudsman are. The objectives of the ombudsman are to promote unity and reconciliation by 1. Promoting equality in cricket. 2. Determining the causes, the nature, and the extent of the racial discrimination and lack of transformation in cricket structures since unification, including the antecedents, the circumstances, the factors, and context of such discrimination, as well as the perspectives of the victims and the motives and the perspectives of the alleged perpetrators, by conducting investigations and holding hearings and affording the alleged perpetrators the opportunity to respond to allegations leveled against them. 3. To promote unity and reconciliation by establishing and making known the fate and whereabouts of victims, and by restoring the human and civil dignity of such victims, by granting them an opportunity to relate their own accounts of the violations. And 4thly, to compile a comprehensive report to the board for its consideration on the activities and findings of the Ombudsman, and which contains recommendations of measures to prevent the future incidences of racial and other forms of discrimination in cricket. So it is clear that the office of the Ombudsman, Mr. Nyathi, is not just to investigate general abuses that happen to people. Because Cricket South Africa is going to say, but you know, Mr. Nyathi, why didn't you? There were grievance procedures. There have always been grievance procedures for people who get abused. He's now singling out, is his case that Mr. Suleiman proceeded against him, however wrongfully or however unlawfully, simply because he's African? Is that what he is saying? If he is saying that, then he must let us understand why he is saying so. In other words, are you, in your testimony, Mr. Nyathi, able to show what these terms of references are expecting the hearings to cover? I don't know whether you have understood what we are trying to get at.
Sir, I do understand.
Yes.
And may I also say that not only is cricket destroyed racially, cricket is destroyed from, outside from the grassroots. From the grassroots. For example, I have been a coach for Gauteng, and the abuse that goes on there from our very own Black Africans. I don't know why people are called Black Africans. That the abuse that comes from there escalate to a level where it will be to a level of international. So the abuse is not necessarily racial at all times. It is also from the grassroots, like I say. I understand, say, that I must point out the racial abuse. But to me, that's not the main abuse. Racial. I'm not disputing.
Now, when you talk about grassroots, are you able to show that the abuse at grassroots level is different because it is taking place on racial lines? You must, you said your evidence is going to be different from the evidence that has been led here beforehand, before you came. It is different because it seeks to raise your problems with Suleiman. And I'm saying this is not necessarily the forum. If it cannot answer the questions that are posed for the Ombudsman,
yes,
and as I've read to you.
Say, may I please repeat in saying that cricket abuse is not only racial.
Yeah. Okay, just make your case.
Mr. Nyathi, in your statement, your written statement, you make reference to an incident while coaching at St. Stithians College for boys. Would you take the chairperson, and you mentioned that incident as part of the racial abuse that you encountered. Now, can you take the chairperson through what really happened at St. Stithians while you were coaching the under-19?
The first team.
The first team.
That's what it's called.
Yes.
I started coaching at St. Stithians at the second team level.
When was that?
In I think it was in 2017,
Okay.
where I started coaching the second team.
Yes.
And then in 2018, I became the first team coach.
Yes.
That's where I felt the abuse came mostly from parents who I've heard them in saying that how can, like I say, Western
Yes.
boy be coaching the first team of St. Stephen's.
Do you know these? What race were these parents?
Yes, they were white. I remember their surname, not the first name though.
Okay.
Can I mention the name?
Mr. Chair?
Yeah. I'm mentioning
Okay, the one person that I truly recall was a gentleman by the surname of Lishnik.
Lishnik.
Yes, his son was the first team captain by then, and he felt that I am not good enough to be giving him instructions, as I do not know the culture of St. Stephen's.
Yes.
So I don't know what they mean by culture, but I'm not good enough, and I should go back to be coaching in the development in the township.
Yes.
And like I've said before, I have tried to report this. Not tried. I have.
Yes.
I have reported this matter to the director of cricket then, which is Mr. Vem Jansen.
Yes.
He was fully aware of this, and also one of my colleagues could access Mr. Jansen's emails,
Yes.
so we could read what is written in those
Emails.
in those emails.
Yes.
Whenever Mr. Jansen was not in the office, we'll scrutinize his emails, and the fact that I'm a black person coaching the first team, this will never happen.
You say that became a problem.
That became a problem.
Was it you said that there were parents. So in the emails that you would then read, were there other parents who shared similar sentiments?
To me, he I wouldn't know if there were any other parents.
Okay.
I feel that maybe he was speaking on behalf of other parents, because I've never had that encounter with any other parent.
Okay.
So I will not accuse
Yes.
other parents for things that I'm not sure of.
Yes. And then what then happened of what became then of your career at St. Stephen's after this you encountered this?
I left St. Stephen's. I must say, I'm not completely innocent in all of this.
Why do you say?
Because of my behavior, where maybe I wouldn't come to work.
Okay.
I wouldn't come to work. I will abscond,
Okay.
without caring what my management will say.
Okay.
So I then left St. Stephen's and went back to coaching in Kagiso. What I would like to stress that I am not saying they are bad and I'm good. I'm not here for that. I've also made my mistakes and I acknowledge them.
Okay. You then say on that page 3 of your statement, you there's a topic there on racism, and you say racism is alive in all corners of cricket, from grassroots level. This includes schools, clubs, provincial and national. I can give many examples of incidents. This page will not be enough to scribe. Are you in a position to give those examples?
I'll say from a coaching perspective,
Yes.
I feel that we black coaches always play second fiddle, in a sense that, like for example, when I'm coaching Gauteng under 19,
Okay.
I will be the main coach up until maybe 2 weeks before, like the Coke Week, the major tournament, where a white person will be appointed as the main coach, and I will then be an assistant. So I feel that's also racist to say I've been coaching Gauteng under 19.
Yes.
2 weeks before the tournament, a white person would come in and be the head coach.
Now,
It will make me wonder, because this person does not even know even one of the players, and if he does, I don't know.
now you mentioned Gauteng particularly, and how long have you coached Gauteng under 19s?
I coached Gauteng under 19s in these are separate years. I coached
Yes.
them firstly in 1999.
And okay.
In 1999, the pattern
And
will be.
what was the duration of that coaching stint?
I'll say less than a year. Where
Less than a year.
Yes, you prepare them. One, you're not contracted in that manner to say I'm coaching under 19. I coach under 19 up until maybe the main event, which is the Coke Week, and the following year somebody will be appointed. Well,
Okay. So you say that you coach them you said 1999.
yes,
So it was less than a year, and then you coach them in preparation of the
Coke Week.
Week. And you say that you weren't contracted at during that period. How did that arrangement then work between you and Gauteng?
I'll be giving a call, for example,
Okay.
to say you are now the coach of under 19,
Yes.
and then that's where it will end. I will be coaching the under 19s
Yes.
up until the Coke Week, and then after the Coke Week, somebody else will be appointed.
Okay.
And then also I coached Gauteng again, the under 19s.
Okay. So in 1999, you coached the under 19s in preparation of the Coke Week, and when 2 weeks before the Coke Week, and you say you were asked to deputize a white coach. Okay.
In this case, this is now. I don't want to confuse stories. I just want to be as clear.
That's why I want you.
I want to be as clear as possible. In 1999, I coached the under 19.
Yes.
And then from then on, I went back to coaching maybe the under 15s, not the provincial team though.
Okay.
The main, and I coached again the under 19s in 2017, 2018.
What happened then?
In 2017, I was also the main coach for the duration of preparation.
Yes.
And then, if I remember correctly, a week before the Coke Week, Grant Morgan, who I think is now in Canada or somewhere,
Yes.
Grant Morgan was appointed as the head coach of the under 19s, and I felt that this is somehow I'm also being discriminated again. Where I feel as a black player, as a black coach,
Yes.
I will always be an assistant to somebody.
Yes.
That's my feeling.
When the right moment has come, in other words, when the tournament has come,
Yes,
you would then be asked to deputize.
always.
And you think that is because of the color of your skin?
I think so, sir. Because that's always been the case. And for example,
now, before I interrupt you, sorry, your coaching levels. I understand that Cricket South Africa has a coaching program in terms of which coaches undergo training, and at the end of that training they receive certificates. which are called coaching levels. What coaching level were you at all these, let's say in the latter period that you spoke about?
Level 3 coach. I must also mention that.
And can you explain to the chairperson what does that entail?
Level 3 coach is where you are now able to be coaching provincial teams.
Yes.
Whether it be under 13, under 15, under 19. And I must also say that in the same process of me being an under 19 coach, I was also assisting the provincial teams. Like, for example, now it's called the Lions.
Yes.
I was also an assistant coach at that level.
Yes. So these two incidents that you've made example of, both happened at Gauteng Cricket. All right. Is there another example that you want to take the chairperson through of an experience that you believe might have been visited upon you because of the color of your skin?
So, I must say, not only as because of the color of my skin, because in the meantime, the people that I feel are oppressing cricket are the very same people who are black, like me. I feel that's where the distraction of cricket is. For me to be focusing only on race, on racism, I think it's more than that. It's more than a racial issue. This is my case. I'm not talking about anybody else. And I mention only Gauteng and Easterns because that's where I worked. I can't be talking about Western Province,
yes,
whereas I've never coached at Western Province. So I'm talking specifically what I've seen as from Gauteng and Easterns. Anywhere else, I'm not going to mention places where I've never been.
Mr. Nyathi, I have to be very frank with you.
Yes, sir.
You come here on the basis of a 4-page handwritten submission, and you devote only half a page, not even that, on racism. And even there, and I'm going to read you what you have written to me into that. Racism is alive in all corners of cricket. From grassroots level, this includes schools, clubs, and provincial and national level. I can give many examples and incidents, but I won't have enough pages to write on. I'm willing to come to the SJN to truthfully give testimony. And then we said there is no structure under CSA that would listen to any grievance. Not even the Ministry of Sports would listen. And I just explained that. Just explain what are you trying to? I strongly feel that cricket at provincial and national level should have a white team and a black team. By black, I mean the so-called black Africans.
Because
what shall be done? Nothing can be done with the current administrators at CSA and provincial level at Gauteng Cricket Board. This includes board members. Now let me just take you through this. You say you can give many examples and incidents, but you won't have enough pages to write on it. Did you say this? To whom did you, when you were invited to make submissions, did you raise the question of your not being able to, of your not being able to have enough pages to write your story? Did you communicate to the Office of the Transformation Ombudsman that, look, I have a problem of making my submissions because I don't have enough pages to write it down? Did you?
No, I did not communicate with anybody.
Why didn't you do so?
I didn't know who to communicate with. Say,
But where did you send this submission to? You sent the submission, it's here before me. It didn't walk from wherever you sent it to a place. How did it get to us? The submission.
It was, I asked my sister to email it to SJN Commission.
Yes, why didn't you then ask your sister to tell SJN, listen, I need more pages than I am sent through to you?
So that's an expression to say I don't have enough pages. Of course I do have enough pages. So when I'm talking about, like for example, if you play from let's say even at primary school level, where, like for example, you'll be told to say, like when I was coaching with Jimmy Cook at Gauteng, he will say things like, we need to choose black players. We need black players in this team, just to fill in the numbers to my knowledge.
Was it difficult for you to write that down so that we know ahead of time what you are going to come and talk to us about?
Like I say,
Mr. Nyathi, the reason the chair is asking that is that we don't dispute that there are many other issues in cricket, within the cricketing system, outside of just racial issues. But the chairperson's mandate in terms of this project is to specifically look into allegations related to racial and gender discrimination. So the part that he's read out where you touch on racism, that is what is most relevant for the chairperson's mandate. And as you're saying that you didn't, what you're telling us now, you didn't manage to get it down and write it down on paper. So that's the part that the chairperson, wants to know about so that he can be able to write the report to CSA.
When I mention racism, also I would say, if you choose a team of mixed races, black players will always be, say, maybe batting at 9, 10, 11, and they'll be there as bowlers, whereas maybe they are all-rounders. And I feel that because they are black, they'll always come last in the team. That I feel that black players are not necessarily wanted.
Mr. Nyathi, have you been listening to some of the testimonies that have been presented before the Ombudsman over the last few days?
So I listened to Sunny Boy, I listened to Lutz, and I've tried avoiding listening to them because I feel that they're depressing, sir. In a sense that...
You can't have been listening to them and avoid listening to them.
No. I'm saying I only listened to those two testimonies. Yes. After that, I never wanted to...
Yes.
I listened to Sunny Boy's testimony because I know him personally. I listened to Lord's because I know him personally. And yes.
And you appreciate that they were giving a lot of detail as to how they want to conclude that the treatment that they got, whether at club level or at provincial level, was so because they were discriminated against on the basis of their race. Did that come across to you as they were testifying?
It came across very clearly, sir.
And do you think your testimony somehow is meets the expectations of anyone who would have expected that you will speak to incidents of racial discrimination? Because even under racial discrimination, as I said, you know, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 lines. I mean, to be frank with you, Mr. Nyathi, I get the sense that, you know, you didn't really take this seriously.
No, sir. It
was just one of those things that you felt you are going to come and do.
Sir, I can't be so much disrespectful. I cannot stoop to that level.
Yeah.
Sir, my main cry is that please, can the structures of cricket be scrutinized from outside, like I say, mention primary school level. Can the structures be scrutinized from there in terms of how black players are being treated from then on going forward? I don't know if I'm clear.
You know, Mr. Nyathi, let me suggest the following. Now that we are clear what my mandate is, and now that in the last page 3 of your written submission, you say there are many examples and incidents that you can talk about on racism in cricket. And against the backdrop of what you you even say there is no structure under CSA that would listen to any grievance. I'm not so sure that that is right. Not even the Ministry of Sports would listen. I don't know where you get that from.
Sir, I mentioned that because, say maybe at CSA, like for example, I've tried speaking to Mr. Majola.
It's not here.
Sorry?
Those details are not here. And why we ask you to write a statement is because we want you to give us details of your issue with cricket as a cricketing structure. I do see page 2, you know, where you say Mr. Gerald Majola also sent a copy of the letter to the then Minister of Sport, Mr. Balfour. Can I make this suggestion? Now that you know what I expect, and I really want to see evidence that when you make a submission, you have taken time and you have considered this is a very serious issue. It's not an issue where you can just, you know, treat with some nonchalance. It's a very serious business. I am prepared to give you a second bite at the cherry. I do this with other people. I would like you to go and sit down and make a written submission. If you need assistance, there will be people who can assist you. Mr. Tom here is one of the people, you know, who is a legal resource to the Office of the Transformation Ombudsman. If it will mean that he will be available at an arranged time to go through with you through your entire history in cricket and listen to you painstakingly for incidents which will meet my mandate, so that by the time you and him have gone through your life experience, because I don't want to undermine your life experience. You wouldn't have taken the problem, or I mean the trouble to make a submission, even if it is in this form, if there wasn't something that you wanted to convey to the Office of the Transformation Ombudsman. I don't want to deny you that opportunity.
Yes.
But these 4 pages fall far short of what I expect.
Okay.
And I don't want to close you out. I want you to make arrangements, therefore, with my legal resources here from whoever vents, I mean from from Vexmans, Freud and sleep. Yeah,
So,
they will be able to assist you, and then we can see. We have got the strictures of time, so if I appear to be impatient with you, it's not that I wanted to be impatient. I just want us to make use of the available time, but not to deny you. There is something you want to say, and I want to hear it. So I want you to consult, with Verksmans, Mr. Tom is here, and you can arrange a time, and then he will take you through. He knows what I expect, and then you will, Advocate Dumisa will try and see in a schedule for when to let you come again. There have been requests by others to do a second submission, and we have entertained those requests, favorably. So there are people who may come for the second time. So this was your first step at it, but I don't want you to feel that I didn't want to listen to you. But at the same time, I don't want to listen to you when I feel you are not quite exactly addressing the problem for which I've got a mandate to listen. Is that fair?
it is fair, sir. Can I also mention that when you talk of transformation of cricket, my feeling is this, that it should be looked at as to what offices are doing, like for example, Gauteng Cricket is doing to grow cricket. And I did not mean disrespectfully when I said even the minister won't listen. I'm saying this because when you approach the higher structures, you won't be giving any attention. I don't know if that's clear. I wouldn't come here without having exhausted coming from maybe my senior up until here. What I'm saying is not like they don't know it. And I'm not lying about anybody. I'm stating my story, although it doesn't come across very clearly. My focus is not necessarily on me being abused because I'm black. That could be part of it, but no. Cricket structures. Like, for example, in this day and age, you get a team of maybe under 13 boys who go on a Saturday to go and play, and they are not offered lunch. I'm talking currently.
Yeah, no, in fact, as I say, once you have a consultation, with Mr. Tom here, or anybody from Verksmans who will be available to take you through, you will have a clear picture of what the terms of reference are, what procedure we are going to be following, and you will then be able to, testify in a structured way, even if your testimony will include exactly what you have just said. Because I think you have a point in saying cricket cannot just be transformed at the higher levels. It must start at grassroots level. You make that point at the schools and everywhere else. And but we can't do it in at this stage. That's why I say, when you have the time, or when the lawyers have been able to arrange with you a time for consultation, then they will draw you, they will consult with you, they will draw an affidavit. That affidavit will be resubmitted to us, and then we will reschedule for you a time for you to come and testify. And you will have a very clear view of what we are expecting from you, and I think that's the fairest way I can accommodate you. Otherwise, we'll go around in circles. There will be things that you have not foreshadowed in your statement, and then the more I listen to them, the more I miss the point you went to make, because you had not articulated it in your statement or affidavit. So please, if we are in agreement, let's adjourn now, and then you can make arrangements with the Office of Werksmans, which is my legal resource, and then we'll see. We'll take it from there. I promise we'll reschedule you. Okay?
So,
You look like you still want to
no,
to make a point.
I feel disappointed in myself.
No,
in a sense that-
look, it happens to everyone. You will be surprised. All of us disappoint ourselves at one stage or another. And so please, don't worry. We are here to, like it says in the terms of, we are here to listen to your story, not to listen to ourselves. We are here to listen to you, and we can't close the door to you because you feel something. I know. I can sense that.
Yeah. So, Mr. Nyathi, you will have a chance to come again. I will reschedule you. So, in the meantime, you'll be in touch with Mr. Tom. And these incidents that you mentioned in the affidavit he'll help you draft. You can maybe list them individually, like what you were saying about,
Yes.
black players not being
Given a
given
chance.
lunch. So you'll list that and you explain that to us, and you list the various incidents so that the chairperson can follow instead of you mentioning it in passing. So I'll reschedule you again, and we'll be in touch.
I'll be in touch with you, sir, and we'll consult and in our time, and then I'll help you do your affidavit.
Thank you, Mr. Nyathi. Thank you,
Can
Chair.
I just say something quickly?
Yes.
That for me not to be as articulate as maybe you expect me to be, I feel that I'm disappointing even a 10-year-old that struggles through cricket, a boy who goes to a game without lunch. I feel those are the ones that I'm disappointing.
No, you'll have a second chance.
You'll
to
have a
come
second
again.
bite at the cherry.
You'll
Yeah.
come again, don't worry.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
And you can tell them then that I disappointed you the last time, but listen to me now.
I'm back.
Yes. We will adjourn. Is Mr. Aspeling ready to come in at 11:30? Okay, let's adjourn now. It's 11:10, 11:15. Okay. So is he going to come here physically or yeah? Okay.
I did tell you about the 12 o'clock.
Okay. So is it going to be 12 o'clock, not 11:30?
No, it's 11:30, but I told him at 12 you will adjourn.
Okay, yes, yeah, okay. Let's see. Oh, by the way, for that memorial, let's adjourn these proceedings and then off the record, let's try and see.